Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. You wake up one morning, and everything your family owns is gone. Your land, your house, your food, your future, all taken while the world looked away. This is not a movie. This is not a legend. This really happened to a Filipino family. What makes this story different is not what was stolen. It's the one decision they made when they had nothing left. And that decision did not just save them. It changed history forever. Stay with me, because at the end of this story, you will understand why one small choice can be stronger than guns, power, and money. And trust me, you do not want to miss how this ends. The year was long ago, when the Philippines was still under foreign rule. Life was hard, but families survived by farming the land, fishing the seas, and trusting one another. In a quiet village near the edge of the fields lived the Santiago family. They were not rich, they were not famous, but they were respected. The father, Tomas Santiago, worked the land with his bare hands. The mother, Maria, sold rice and dried fish at the market. Their children ran barefoot, laughed freely, and dreamed big dreams. That land was everything to them. It fed them. It protected them. It gave them hope. Then one day, strangers arrived. They came with papers, uniforms, and weapons. They said the land no longer belonged to the people. It now belonged to the empire. The villagers protested. They begged. They cried. But power does not listen to tears. The Santiago family watched as soldiers marked their land. Their crops were destroyed. Their house was burned. Their tools were taken. By sunset, the family stood on the road with nothing but the clothes they wore. Everything gone. That night, the children cried from hunger. Maria held them close, trying to hide her fear. Thomas sat in silence, staring at the dark sky. He had two choices. Choice one, fight back with anger. Many men had tried that before. Most were jailed, some never came back. Choice two, leave the village forever and forget the land. But Tomas chose a third option, an option no one expected. He chose education. With no land and no money, this sounded crazy. But Thomas believed something deeply. They can take our land, he said, but they cannot take what we put in our minds. The next morning, the family walked to the nearest town. Thomas worked as a cleaner. Maria washed clothes for strangers. The children begged for leftover food. Every peso they earned went to one thing, school. The children studied under candlelight. They shared one book. They walked miles every day. People laughed at them. "What is education good for?" they said. "You have no future." But Thomas never gave up. Years passed. The eldest son, Andres, became very good at reading and writing. He learned the language of the rulers. He learned their laws. He learned their weaknesses. While others fought with fists, Andres fought with words. He became a clerk, then a teacher, then a writer. He started writing about families like his. Families who lost everything. Families no one talked about. At first, no one listened. But words are patient, and truth is stubborn. Slowly, people began to read, to think, to question. Andres spoke about fairness, about land, about dignity. The rulers noticed him. They warned him to stop. He refused. He remembered his burned house, his hungry nights, his father's silent tears. Then something unexpected happened. Other families came forward. More stories, more voices. The movement grew. And here is the part I want you to pause and think about right now. If this story is already making you feel something, this is the moment to subscribe. Because stories like this remind us that history is not made by kings alone, but by ordinary people who refuse to stay silent. Subscribe now, and let's keep these stories alive. Back to the story. The rulers tried to silence Andres. They banned his writings. They followed him. They threatened his family. But the words had already escaped. Young Filipinos read them in secret. Teachers whispered them in classrooms. Farmers repeated them in fields. Education became resistance. The Santiago family's choice spread like fire. More parents sent their children to school. More minds woke up. Years later, when the call for freedom grew louder, it was educated voices that led the way. They knew the laws. They knew the world beyond the island. They knew how to organize. The empire expected weapons. Instead, they faced ideas. The land that was stolen became a symbol, not of loss, but of awakening. Thomas did not live to see the change. But before he died, he said one thing: We lost everything so our children could gain everything. When the Philippines finally stood taller, when voices could no longer be ignored, people looked back. And they remembered families like the Santiagos, not because they fought with violence, but because they made one quiet, powerful decision when they had nothing left. They chose the future, and here is why this story matters today. You may not have lost land. You may not live under an empire, but life will steal from you. Time, opportunities, people are dreams. The question is not what gets taken. The question is what decision you make after. Do you give up, or do you invest in what no one can steal? Your mind, your skills, your voice. That Filipino family was not special because they were perfect. They were special because they refused to let loss define them. And that one decision changed history. If you stayed till the end, you are the kind of person who understands the power of stories. Remember this, when everything is taken from you, you are still not powerless. Sometimes, the smallest choice becomes the loudest echo in history. Before you leave, let this story stay with you for a moment, because stories like this are not just about the past. They are reminders of who we are and what we can survive. If this story moved you even a little, if it made you think, if it made you feel proud, then you belong here. Subscribe to Allview Philippines. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a story. I post new videos every single day. Every day, new stories, new lessons, new reasons to believe. And if you loved this story, you will definitely love my last video. The story of how Filipinos refused to give up even when politicians tried to collect everything from them. Their land, their money, their voice. That story will change how you see strength. Click it now, stay curious, stay proud, and remember, a people who refuse to give up can never be erased. See you in a minute.